when you think about AI, you mentioned it before. Like, what do you think it is going to do? I mean, specifically, let's focus on the creative market. Like, do you think that it means that each person can just do that much more work because they're using AI? Do you think each person can just do that much better work because they're using, one of these tools? Like, how does AI, where does it have the biggest impact, to work in your opinion?
A few observations, I guess. So, one, firstly, it's going, it's going really fast, and it's definitely happening, but it's not kind of exploding in a way, like on the on the foundational model layer within design specifically, and I say that just to kind of set the ground for what we expect to be kind of a multi-decade type transition, more analogous to the digital transformation than anything else. I mean, it's going fast, but it's not kind of crazy. To give kind of one example, at the start of 2024, we forecasted that 50% of our volume would be AI generated by the end of the year. And then we ended up at around 25%, which is still, a lot. And I think we're probably far ahead of pretty much anyone else. But it's not kind of 50, it's not 100, but it's also not zero, right? So I just think it's important to bear in mind that the actual kind of outlook here is one of a reasonable middle ground in a sense. But for sure, like definitely happening. Where is it happening the most? It's easy to assume that it's going to happen the most in this, like, that it's going to work from the bottom and up. That, I don't know, like aligning boxes in PowerPoint or resizing ads for different formats will be kind of the first thing to go. But then a sophisticated, creative strategist, that has amazing ideas and excellent taste cultivated through like a long life in the creative profession will be like impossible to replace. What we're seeing so far isn't necessarily like giving grounds for optimism for either of those two. It might very well be that creative strategy will be something that these AI tools will be very, very good at. And the experiments that we're running where we're kind of A/B testing one concept that is AI generated versus a concept that is human generated side by side on Facebook shows that, it's pretty much already on parity. And so,
Wow.
it's hard to kind of say exactly where it will play out. I think on the project management layer, there's pretty significant opportunity to improve things, and that's a quite often overlooked area of importance in the creative process. Typically, project management is maybe 40% of total project time. And this is, briefing back and forth on the brief, quoting, scoping, setting deadlines, all these things. And we believe that this is an area that we as a company can invest massively in and be very successful with. And the investments that we have made seems to be paying off on this project management layer, sort of automating away many of these things. Then we're also seeing on the positive side, I guess, for like the total volume of the market, is that there's just so many incredibly cool things that you can imagine will happen, right? And so you go to an e-commerce company today, and it's generally quite boring to be there. It's just pictures of simple. I mean, some e-commerces invest a lot in it, but it's not very high quality because you have 200,000 SKUs in an e-commerce. It's very costly to do production. But with AI, you can in theory make just incredibly immersive experiences for every single product, which presumably will be very costly to do. And so it's kind of the sky is kind of the limit on the amount of content experiences that you can create and the quality of those. So I don't know how it's going to play out, to be honest, but it's an exciting time.
That is exciting. I never thought about actually the e-commerce use case. You really could, because that would have taken people, human beings, to build those experiences, right? I mean,
yeah, and it would have, in many cases, have taken like physical models, right? You need to have lots of young girls come in and be like, hey, you know, we're going to take your photos all day long with all of these clothes, and that's expensive. And you know, yeah. So if there's one career I don't really advise anyone these days, it's probably to be a fashion model.